Hello everybody. Today is my birthday and I have decided to re-engage with a game that I've had for, I don't know, maybe a year at this stage, and it's the Middle-earth CCG, which is a dead CCG, and I've been putting together a collection of cards. I did a couple of unboxings. And then at some point last year I simply stopped because I felt I couldn't really get my head around this game, because this game is actually not an easy game. By design, it's an opposed play. The idea is that each of you controls one of the 5 Istari. That's for the Wizards expansion, or for the Wizards part of the game. And you want to get the peoples of Middle-earth, and this is the map that comes with the game, or one of the versions of the map that comes with the game. And you basically try to get marshalling points to marshal the peoples of Middle-earth to fight Sauron. Now you might wonder, how can you play this opposed? Well, the idea is that you want your wizard, and that's probably already a little bit weird, but it is in keeping with what Tolkien wrote. You want your wizard to be the one to marshal the free peoples, but you can also succumb to temptation. It's called corruption in the game, like Saruman did, like Palando and Alatar did, who are not part of the game at all, and all part of the books at all, and also how Radagast to a certain degree did as well. While Radagast didn't turn evil, he lost sight of the mission, which was given to these 5 Maiar by the Valar to go to Middle-earth and fight Sauron. So he completely abandoned his post and started looking after the creatures of the earth, and he didn't really do anything to fight Sauron or to incite in the minds and hearts of the free peoples to fight Sauron. The only Istari, or Istar I should say, who really stayed true to his mission was Gandalf. And since it's an opposed game, you play against someone, which of course I can't do because I play solo, and also for this game it's, I think, even more difficult to get somebody to play this than Lord of the Rings, the living card game, would, because you really need to put together a deck pool for a game that's dead. You have to start finding people who still sell the game. It is still available, at least in Europe. There are certain people who sell this, but it's not necessarily cheap. And with something that is out of print, you also are faced with the fact that you have a huge card pool. I mean, I'm just going to show you some of the cards that I have. And that is not all of the cards that I have. I have 3 unopened booster sets. The White Hand, the Lidless Eye and Dragons upstairs. It's not even been touched. And these are just the unique the cards that, without all of the doubles, triples, quadruples that I have, because these are just basically 3 of each kind if I had them. So I took every card that I have, every unique card that I have, and unique not meaning rarity, but unique being, you know, one of its kind, and then I put in 3 of these, because you can never have more than 3 in your deck. So then I looked for solo scenarios, and there are some, and there are even solo rules. There are official solo rules. There are also ARDA rules. There are all kinds of rules by people. The Lonesome Gamer, Kalasmar, plays it solo in one way, and he's also got a couple of rules that he uses, house rules that he uses. And then I came across a WordPress account, solo rules. When you Google solo scenarios for ME CCG, you find it, but I'm also going to put his link in the description. And he creates all of these solo scenarios, which are really lovely and which are very thematic, but he doesn't give you deck descriptions or deck lists. And he has a very good reason, and I assume he's a he, I don't know. They have a very good reason for this, and that is, they say, if I do this, then I will just show you what cards I have, but this may be very different from your own card pool. So if I tell you, you know, use these cards, you don't have them, then what do? You can't play the scenario. You should try it yourself. You should try something different. You know, and he says it stifles creativity, and he is probably right. So I took one of his first solo scenario that's on his website, and it's called, sorry, I've got it here, I printed it off. And if you download all of his, or if you copy all of his solo scenarios, it comes to 170 A4 pages, so there is plenty of material out there. It is called the Coasts of Middle-earth. So this deck deals with, or this scenario deals with the 10 or so, 12 coastal regions and coastal areas. So when we look at the map itself, we're talking about this part. So there are places that run around this, so down here to Tolfalas. Pelagia is of course a coastal region, it's a harbour. And in the game you have so-called sidecars. And these are some of the ones that I have, and they are essentially locations. These are all of the ones that I have that I identified myself as being sea regions. I have some more which are also sea regions according to this scenario, but I didn't put them in. And the idea of the scenario is to get 6 of these under your control, and you get them under your control by defeating their attacks. So so for example, how in Guanur has the automatic attack Undead. 1 strike with 10 prowess, each character wounded must take a corruption check. If you defeat this, you get this location. You can still act at it, but then it goes into your marshalling point deck, or we could also call it the victory point deck. And also we have a couple of other things that we can do to marshal people, and that is, or to get marshalling points, and that is to gain factions. And because, and this is probably as good a reason as any, I've run out of blue sleeves, I've actually created a sideboard of a couple of things that I would like to play. I've got the men of Anfalas, the elves of Lindon, who would be marshalable at the Grey Havens, but since this is where we start, we can't do it just now. Knights of Dol Amroth and the men of Lebanon, they can be marshalled at these particular sites where they hail from. And I've also got 3 additional heroes that heroes characters that I can bring in. Adrazar, and of course Imrahil, and my wizard Alatar, who will be playable at Edelond. So basically at the moment I don't have a wizard out, which is normal for the beginning. Even when you play against someone, you usually start with up to 5 characters, and your wizard is somewhere in your deck, and you don't want to reveal him too early, because if your wizard is targeted and dies, then you lose the game immediately. So who are we playing with? We're playing with Círdan the shipwright, whose home is the Grey Havens, and this is where we start. And he's part of the beginning party in the scenario as described on the website. Annalena and Arenmir. I've also added Unborn because these guys are terribly weak. And I've played a couple of other scenarios, and that's also why I didn't continue with the game, because I always lost. It was terrible. And it wasn't because the game is bad or anything, but because my decks were simply not suitable to even just withstand the easiest onslaught of enemies. I was just really bad at this game because it is not a deck builder. And I entered into a discussion on my solo Facebook group the other day when somebody said, oh yeah, now I'm going to start the deck building game. I'm so looking forward to my first deck builder, Lord of the Rings. And he had bought every single deluxe expansion there was. And he showed this picture and I was like, oh my God, I do hope he doesn't believe that this is a deck building game, because Lord of the Rings LCG is not a deck building game, it's a deck construction game. Just like this is not a deck building game, it's a deck construction game. Just like Mythos, the CCG, is not a deck builder, it's a deck construction game, and they play very, very differently. So I said, well, it's actually not a deck builder, it's a deck construction. No, the word is used correctly. And I was like, well, I'm not going to debate you guys because the word is not used correctly. It's not a deck builder. But be that as it may, my deck construction wasn't really good. But I also have these, and these are the original Lord of the Rings, Middle-earth CCG dice. You can get those still. And the 6 is a dark eye. No, sorry, the 1 is the Eye of Sauron. So it's a really beautiful set of dice because you need 2 d6s. Okay, so I've never played this scenario. I've never played with this deck. Here's my hazard deck. I filled it with hazards that make sense with regard to coastal regions. And we'll probably die within the first turn, because that's what always happens to me, but then at least this will be a short video. So I'll just be back because I need something to drink because it's a bit dry in here. So I'll just be right back. So, let's see. We are in the Grey Havens, which, and I'm not going to do this all the time to show you the map, which is here. Now, the way this works is you can only move from haven to side to haven. So you could move to any side that is key to the Grey Havens and then do whatever you want to do there and then return to the Grey Havens. This is the basic game. And this is what I'm going to do because it is a lot easier, because also, and I'm not playing it like this, you can only heal at a haven. And healing means, so basically if I turn Annalena on her head, she's wounded. I can go back to a haven, heal her, but she's still tapped. And as a tapped character, there are certain things you can't do and you take penalties for other things. I played using Kalasmar's Lonesome Gamer rule. If you're in a haven and you heal, you're automatically untapped. If you're in any side, you can heal to your tapped side, because otherwise you are not going to be very happy with this game, because it's going to be terrible, because it is very difficult to play. So now we're going to draw 5 cards, and we're actually going to draw 6 because Círdan has the ability that when you are at the Grey Havens you can hold 1 more card. So I'm going to take this to mean that I can draw 6 cards, because unlike the normal solo game, in this version of the game your hand size is 5. So I've got 6 cards. Let's see what they are. We have Fellowship, which is a permanent event. It's only playable at a haven. We can't do this now because we start with the movement phase. During the organization phase, on a company that has 4 or more characters and allies, we have 4 or more characters. +1 prowess and +1 to corruption checks for all characters and allies in the company. Discard this card if a character or ally joins or leaves the company for any reason. It's a permanent event. So this one, once we play it, will stay with us until such time as one of us dies or leaves or is discarded for whatever reason. Healing herbs. The bearer can tap and discard this item, so you have to attach it to someone. You can't play it, it's not an event. To heal a character in his company, changing the character status from wounded to well and untapped. So she's now wounded, she would now be well, but tapped, and now she's completely healed. Alternatively, the bearer can tap and discard this item to untap a character that is not wounded. So you could also use this to give somebody additional, an additional action. It's a little bit like Unexpected Courage, only it goes away. Block. It's a short event. Warrior only. Warrior does not tap against 1 strike. Very good, unless he's wounded. A friend or 3. For every character in the influencing character's company, a friend or 3 gives a +1 modification to an influence check or to a corruption check made by a character in the same company. Gates of Mourning, permanent event. When Gates of Mourning is played, all environment hazard cards in play are immediately discarded and all hazard environment effects are cancelled, cannot be duplicated. You can only play this once and it's permanent. Now the question is, when can you play permanent events? Because they're not like short events. So let's consult our handy turn overview. Okay, that would be after the organization phase. So we're now in the movement phase. So what we're going to do is we're going to check where would we like to go. And we can look at our location deck at any time. It's nothing that we draw from. So this one is Etherland. Etherland is a haven. Belfalas is Etherland. I will have to dig out Rivendell for this one. Case of Ulund. Really? Oh. Isle of the Dead That Live. That's Grey Havens. Etherland. Lossadan Cairn. Okay, I'll just have to check something here. Yes. I'll be right back. Okay, no problem there. We are in the Grey Havens and we are going to move to the ruined signal tower, whose nearest haven is actually Rivendell, but I just checked the description of the scenario. It states you only use two havens, the Grey Havens and Etherland. So we will just assume that Rivendell, the nearest is nearest to the Grey Havens. So we're going to go to the ruined signal tower, which has a count of 2. So we're now allowed to draw up to 2 cards. And we can't really so the hazard deck consists of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards that we need to draw, and they come out in exactly this order. The hazard limit, since we have 4 people, is 4. Once we're there, if we want to encounter or go into the ruined signal tower, we will have to face 2 automatic attacks, spiders, 2 strikes with 8 prowess. We can also draw up to 2 cards now, and I'm wondering if I should do this or if I shouldn't. Let's just draw 2 more cards. Let's just draw 1 card, and it's a friend of 3. Okay, so we will see what happens now. So the first card is Ambusher, which is not, because we've got 3 wilderness, so this is not keyed to the location or to the wilderness, so it gets discarded. Next up is Cave Drake, which is 2 wilderness, which we can face. Dragon, 2 strikes, attacker chooses defending characters, which doesn't really work this way because obviously we do not play it this way, we don't have someone. So this one will be played, number 1. Number 2, Fell Turtle, which is keyed to ocean, and we're not on the coast just yet, so this one gets discarded. Rain Drake requires 3 wilderness, which we've got. This is going to be terrible. And lastly, we have Foolish Words, playable on a character. Any riddling roll, offering attempt, or influence attempt by targeted character is modified by -4. If placed on guard, it may be revealed and played when a character in the company declares such an attempt. During his organization phase, the character may tap. Okay, we're just gonna actually give this to Kirdan. So when he tries to influence people, he will be at a -4. So this means we have 3. Last one. Corsairs of Umbar, again, completely coastal. So we don't use these. We have had 4 and only 3 were playable. Let's start with the Cave Drake. And the Rain Drake is 15 prowess, so we're dead. I can already see this. Okay. Yeah. 2 strikes, 1 strike. May also be played. Okay, that's fine. Kirdan is the strongest. So he should face the Rain Drake. We're going to start with the Rain Drake, and we're going to play block. Kirdan is a warrior. Warrior does not tap against 1 strike. So we have 6 from him. And we need to roll 10 to make it. And that was 7. So this means he is wounded, and he's also then tapped. So he's now wounded, which is not good. And this one goes away. The Cave Drake attacks twice. So first we're going to use Annalena. And she needs to roll an 11. And she rolls a 7, which, sorry, she would have had to roll an 8. It means the strike was ineffectual. Then we're going to use Unborn, and we're going to tap his Elven Cloak so that the strike doesn't happen. So basically we have not won any of these battles. So none of these go into our marshalling points. But that's fine. So we arrive at the Ruined Signal Tower, where we have to face 2 spider attacks with 8 prowess. So Unborn is going to take the first one. He's going to tap for this. And he rolls a 3. Oh my word. This is terrible. So he has 5, so he's hit. Oh, sorry, we would have had to do a body check with Kirdan. Sorry. Yeah, he passes that one. So now we have to do a body check for Unborn. And a body check... How does that work again? If a strike against a character is successful, the character is wounded and must make a body check. To make a body check, the attacker, well, that doesn't apply. If this value is greater than the character's body attribute, the character is eliminated. So we want to roll, oh my word, if it's is greater. Okay, so just about. We nearly lost him already. Now the second one is Arinmir. And he rolls a 7 plus 9. So he basically faced it and he came in. So now the problem is we are at a site and we can't do anything because everyone's tapped. So what we're going to do is we're going to discard Cram to untap Arinmir. And first of all, we're going to play, and this is where this game gets really problematic, because in order to play something, you have to, hold on. Okay, so we're now going to give him Dagger of Westernness to increase his prowess. And I'm not even sure if we're allowed to do this because we didn't overcome both automatic attacks, but I'm just going to play it this way. Otherwise we would be in limbo. We couldn't do anything except travel back. And then when we travel back to the Grey Havens, of course, we would also again draw 6 cards and it would all go downhill from there. So that's why I have to say I'm not sure... It must face the automatic attack. It doesn't say it needs to overcome it. Okay. Okay, now this site is tapped because we've been here. What we're going to do is we're going to tap the site, which means it goes into our discard pile. We cannot now use it for domination because we only have we didn't manage to overcome each strike. So now is the untap phase. Now we're not at a haven, so everything gets untapped. And Unborn is now tapped, but he's healed. Kirdan is healed as well, but tapped, and Annalena is untapped. And Arinmir is also untapped because we tapped him to get the dagger out. 2, 4, 5, we've got 5 cards. I'm also going to play Fellowship as a permanent event. Oh, sorry, we're not at a haven, so I can't play that. Okay, so this one goes away. We've lost this. We can't go here again, but we also cannot dominate it. So we go back to the Grey Havens. We draw 4 cards. Actually, we're going to draw 6 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I myself am going to draw 2 cards. Fellowship again, and escape. Okay. Greed. Playable on a site. Until the end of the turn, each non-hobbit, non-wizard character at the site must make a corruption check each time an item is played at that site. The character playing an item need not make a corruption check. Sorry. The character playing the item need not make a corruption check, but everybody else does. Okay. Yeah, okay, it's fine. We're just going to leave it here. When a character makes one of these corruption checks, it is modified by subtracting the corruption points that the item would normally give the character if he controlled the item. Okay, we'll deal with it when we come to it. Huon. Indeed, it's an awakened plant with 1 strike, and it's got 1 wilderness, so this goes. Full of froth and rage. It's a permanent event. All spider and animal attacks received +2 prowess. Okay. If this had come out on the previous turn, where we were entering the ruined signal tower, it would actually have increased those spiders by 2 as well. So now we've got 3, 4, Doors of Night. Environment. When Doors of Night is played, and all resource environment cards in play are immediately discarded, and all resource environment effects are cancelled, cannot be duplicated. Okay, this means these go away, because we play this. So, we have to face the Huon. And we are simply going to assign this to Unborn, and we're going to tap his Elven Cloak. This goes away because I'm not able to face any of this. So we arrive at the Grey Havens, where we don't have to do any checks coming in. And we are going to, first of all, play Fellowship. And then we're going to play Healing Herbs on Annalena. So we have to tap her. And now it gets interesting. Until the end of the turn, each non-hobbit, non-wizard character at the site must make a corruption check each time an item is played. So, corruption checks. A corruption check works as follows. When a card or other effect indicates blah, blah, blah. Okay. Each character has a corruption point total. This starts at 0, but certain cards and activities will increase it. Most cards that affect a character's corruption. Character's corruption point total can be determined at any time by summing the corruption point values of the corruption cards under his card and any other cards he controls. Usually items. So, Círdan has a corruption level of 0. When a card or other effect indicates that one of your characters must make a corruption check, you must roll 2d6 and add any appropriate modification, one of the following results. Nothing happens if the modification result is greater than the character's corruption point total. So his corruption point total is 0. So since the least we can roll is 2, minus the 1 for the healing herbs that we played, he's good. Annalena doesn't have to make the corruption check, but Arinmir does. So we roll 5, minus 1 is 4, his total is 1, so he's good. And, oh, we have a +1 to corruption checks anyway, so let's do the guy with the elven cloak. And again, for an 8, 9, 8, that's fine, he's good. Okay, so we're good. So this one goes away as well. Doors of Night stay in play, full of wrath and rage, stay in play as well. Okay. And everyone now untaps and everybody is also healed. So that's good. We're done. We could now try and remove this card, this permanent event based on Kirdan, but we're just not going to. That's fine. But what we're going to do is we're going to try and marshal the Elves of Lindon. He gets a +2. He has 8 free influence because he's not controlling anyone. +2 for the elves, for the fact that they're Lindon elves. No, we can't actually because we just untapped him. He was tapped. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to stay here on this side, which we can do, but we still have to draw. Well, what happens if you stay? They still can play cards on you. No, I rule that we're in a haven, so I don't have to draw cards. So we have another turn. So now I'm going to tap Kirdan as my site action. 10 minus 4 is 6, and I need a 9. And I rolled a 10. Plus 6 is 16. So the Elves of Lindon are with us now. They go into our marshalling point pile, so we've got 2 points. So that was the side phase. We're still here, so the greed card is still there. Oh no, it's a short event and it only just happened once. Okay. So, okay, cool. So now we're going to move again, and now the question is, where are we going to move to? We could move to Etherlond, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to move to Etherlond. So we draw 2, 4, 6 cards, and we're still at 4. 1. Where did this guy come from? Well, he's not in the deck actually. I don't know why he's in here. He shouldn't be in there. So let's try this again. Alone and unadvised, character. A corruption playable on a non-wizard, non-ring wraith character in a company with 3 or fewer characters. So this goes away. Cave Drake. Nope. Because it requires 2 wilderness, which we don't have. Choking Shadows. Environment. Modify the prowess of 1 automatic attack at a ruins and lairs which is not where we're traveling, it goes away. Hobgoblins, also no. Call of Home, playable on a non-wizard character that is not the bearer of the One Ring. The character's player must make a roll. Return the character to the player's hand if the result plus his unused general influence is less than 10. Okay, we're gonna play this on Arinmir. And that's a 6 plus 4 is 10, so that worked out because, no, sorry, 8. Okay, he's... Okay, so he's returned to our hand. And the Dagger of Westerness goes to... And the Dagger of Westerness goes to Annalena. Brilliant. That's perfect. So we've just lost one person. How many have we been playing, actually? One. This one was discarded. This one was discarded. Okay. And the last one, Ambusher, also doesn't trigger. Okay, so we've now arrived at Etherlond, which is terrible. Because in a way, this sucks. So we're one person down already. This isn't good. Oh, we can actually play Arinmir because, haha, we are in Etherlond. So we're going to use this ability to play Arinmir. And since he is going to come under our general influence, I don't need to tap anyone. But this one actually went away just now because we just lost him. So we're going to play Fellowship just right again. And also we got to draw 2 cards, which I forgot. So as you can see, there is a lot going on in this game and I find it quite confusing, but of course it just takes time. Kirdan untaps. That's all we're going to do because we don't have anything that we could in theory and in practice play. And we are going to move to we are going to move to Pelagir because this is something that doesn't really attack us off the bat. And we can get someone there. Or we could actually go to Dol Amroth, couldn't we? Okay, we're going to move to Dol Amroth instead. Dol Amroth. Draw 1 card, which means we get to draw 2 4 hazards. Brigands. Yes. 2 strikes. If any strike of the Brigands wounds a character, the company must immediately discard 1 item. Corsairs of Umbar. No, Corsairs of Umbar, no. Doors of Night are already out. Awaken minions. The number of strikes for each automatic attack at a shadow hold. So this stays until our next travel. Since the next travel will be to Etherlond, it won't do anything. Okay, whoops. The Brigands attack. They have 8 prowess. So what we're going to do is we're going to take Annalena. We have +2, so she's got 5. She's got the Dagger of Westerness, which gives her a +1, and she has the permanent event Fellowship, so we're going to tap her. So she has 5, 8. So she has 5, so we need to roll 3 or we need to roll 4. And we rolled 9. So the first strike is defeated. So I'm just going to tap it so I know this. And then we're going to use Kirdan. We're not going to take any risks. He's at a 7. So we need to roll a 2, which we do. So this one is actually defeated. We get it. So we have 3 marshalling points. We enter Dol Amroth. We don't have to do anything there. There is no danger. But we do want to get the Knights of Dol Amroth and Imrahil. So, we are going to stay here and do nothing for one turn. So I do believe that we need to be attacked, otherwise that you could stay there endlessly. So I'm just going to draw 3 cards. Abductor, which cannot be keyed to this. Giant cannot be keyed to this. Arouse denizens. The prowess of 1 automatic attack by a... Okay, ignore it. And lastly 4. Where do these trolls come from? This needs to go away. I didn't put the trolls in here at all. I don't know why they suddenly appear. Gloom. Environment. Playable only on a company that is moving this turn. Ignore it. Brilliant. Okay, so we untap. Maybe we should have untapped at the end of last turn. Yeah, I really have to kind of... No, it's the beginning of the turn. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to tap Círdan to hire Imrahil and bring him under his influence. So, then we're going to tap Imrahil. Can we actually do this on the same turn? Yeah. Tap a wizard. Yeah, you can, yeah, okay, you can do this, play or discard a character. Okay. Actually, we could have played our wizard as well. So, oh, this is annoying. This is terrible. Okay, I don't understand how he plans on playing this then, because if you have Imrahil and you play him as an ally, okay, now 9, it's 11. You can't really do this. Okay, now here's my problem. In the scenario, the description says you can play Imrahil. That's brilliant, but then you have to tap Dol Amroth. Once a location is tapped in a scenario, it goes away. Now, you can't then go back to it, so we can't get the Knights of Dol Amroth, whom we need because we need the marshalling points. So I will rule that I get to decide when I'm finished with a... So yeah, otherwise this doesn't work, because I need Imrahil, because he's not, I can't play him as a character because the overall influence that I have, the general influence is 15 in this game instead of 20. And I'm at 15 already, so I couldn't play him anyway. Okay, so I'm just not going to do it this way. So Imrahil comes in, we're going to tap him immediately to try and hire the, and I don't care if this is actually against the rules, this is how I'm going to play it. So I'm going to try and get the Knights of Dol Amroth. Unless, of course, I do something different. Let's think this through. If I'm in the reorganization phase, and I have 11 out, I could put Arenmir here, so he's under him. I'm going to move Unborn out. 7. No, that doesn't work. Actually, I made a mistake because Unborn can't, he should have reported into Círdan when Arenmir left, so it would have been like this. So, 2, but that doesn't work. 10, 13, that still doesn't work. Okay. No, you can't do this. Okay, so what we're going to do is, this is terrible, but we have to do it this way. So, this is the situation. We have 15 out. That's all we can do. We're not going to do anything in Dol Amroth because we don't want to tap this. We're going to go back to Ethelond. 2, 4, 6. Corsairs of Umbar. Nope. Oh, yes. No. Maybe. Yeah, just... Crabine. No. Choking Shadows. Nope. Giant. Nope. Despair of the Heart. Playable on a non-hobbit, non-wizard, non-ringwraith character. Target character receives 2 corruption points and makes a corruption check each time a character in his company becomes wounded. Okay, we're going to give this to Arenmir. Arouse denizens. No, so we have to meet the Corsairs of Umbar. Corsairs of Umbar. 5 strikes. May also be playable. Blah. 9. Oh my god, 5 strikes. So yeah, I get to draw cards as well. Talk of Furies, it doesn't work. Okay. 5 strikes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So, 9 prowess. So we're going to start with Círdan, who does not do anything. He doesn't tap because we're going to play dodge. And he rolls a 7 plus 1 is 8 plus, that's fine. So the first one is finished. So we've defeated it once. 1. Annalena goes next and she rolls an 8, easily 11 twice. Arenmir does, so they're all tapped. Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot. Yeah, this one was -1. So we're going to use Arenmir. 9, that's good too. And Unborn, he rolls a 9, that's good too. So we've defeated these, they go into our... This game's really difficult. Yeah, we're going to play Gates of Morning and we're going to get rid of Gates of Night. They're Doors of Night. And they go out of play. Yeah. So we are now in Ethelond, where we're going to play Alatar, because that's his home. And I don't know what you can actually do at Havens, because they don't have anything keyed to them. If you can play anything there, if you can play any cards there, besides bringing in people, I don't know. So we will just assume that that you can't. So what we're going to do is, in the organization phase, we are going to, the character may tap to attempt and remove this card. Yes, it gets discarded and goes out of play. So now we are, sorry, these would have been untapped. Okay. I really need to make a diagram of the turn order. Good. So we're now in Etherland. We had the untap phase, we had the organization phase where we brought Alatar in. And that's it. So now we're going to move back to Dol Amroth for 2, 4. And let's see what happens. Lost in the Wilderness. Playable on a company that is moving this turn. You may play 1 additional hazard on target company for each wilderness in its side path. So we get to draw 1 more. So we get 5. Actually, we get 6 is the hazard limit. So that was 1 hazard. 2. Karakse a hunt. Bay of Belfalas? Yes. Good. So we have 3 strikes at 15. Woohoo! I love this. Yes. Oh, it's a good thing that we... Okay. This is going to be fun. 3 strikes. Kiran goes first. He taps for 7. 7, 11, 16, which is just enough. But now we have to do a body check. And the way the body check works is... And now we need to make another roll of 6. No, of 7. 7. Okay, first strike was successful. Next up is Annalena for 5. She needs to roll a 10 or higher. This is going to end terribly. She rolls a 7. 10, 11. So she's wounded. She needs to make a body check. And for a 7, she's fine. Next up is Alatar. He taps. 7 and 7 is 14. So he's wounded and he needs to make a body check. 10. We've just lost the game because Alatar lost his body check. We rolled a 10 and his body is 9. So, as you can see, this game is very hard. But I think I will have to kind of, I think you're very, very... I think this is also to do with the scenario in this case, because we were in Dol Amroth. We could have hired Imrahil, but then by doing this, we tapped Dol Amroth, which means we can't, because we don't have enough free influence, because we neglected to get Alatar out, which is a strategic error. No, it would never work. Oh yeah, we could have reorganized so that we would have had enough free influence. Because Alatar could have influenced Kirdan, so we would have reorganized. We would have had enough free influence, free general influence to get Imrahil without having to tap, and then we could have used Imrahil and tapped Dol Amroth to get the Knights of Dol Amroth as marshalling points. So that was a strategic problem. It was my mistake. I shouldn't have played it this way. I did. My bad. The problem that I see, however, is that if you have these cards in your deck rather than in a sideboard, they may come out at different times once you've already, well, I guess these ones can't be dominated, so you would not, yeah, but that's a Haven. What's Londgalen? Do we have Londgalen even in here? Yeah, okay. Okay, so, yeah. Yeah, but as you can see, this one here, I suppose you cannot tap this and put it away if you've only played something there. Because if you do it this way, you will not be able to get to your 10, to your 6 conquered sites, because we only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 that can be conquered, and they're all very, very, very dangerous. So I guess what you would do is you would first go to Ethelon to get all of these guys, to go to Dolamroth and so on and so forth. So that's really a strategic question of when do you play which cards and when do you go where. I think that's also very important. When do you go where? But I hope that you kind of got an idea of the scenario, because the scenarios that this guy has put together are brilliant. Notwithstanding the fact that I'm very bad at playing them. But I find it highly enjoyable, and I will have to do this again, this time, of course, with a lot more strategic planning. And a lot more strategic planning on my part, but that's not bad. I mean, that doesn't mean that this scenario is bad. It's just that I'm very bad at playing it because I'm very unfamiliar with it. I mean, I will say that the one thing that I really don't like is the fact that you're so restricted with regard to card play. Because you can't save to play cards, as it were. So, for example, in The Lord of the Rings, you can say, okay, I'm not gonna play this card. I'm just gonna wait until I have enough money, as it were, enough resources to play it. Here, in this case, if you tap a location, you have to return to that location to do it again. So that's problematic. So yeah, but that's the way this game plays, and I guess that from what I can tell, it is really, really balanced this way. So it's not like they have that there's a balance issue, so I wouldn't want to mess with that, because it is my strong belief that the way this works is the way it works, because they have tried to ensure that the game is playable, and it was very, very successful. And even, I think, as late as 2013, there was a championship playing it online, but still there was a championship, so it has a great following. So I don't think this would have such a following if the gameplay in itself was unbalanced. I believe that there is a lot of skill in there, notwithstanding the die rolling, but yeah. So we'll have to play this again, definitely. I have to replace this one because I don't know why it's in there. And we will have to see how we fare next time, and I will definitely record my failings and see what I can do there. But hopefully you enjoyed this, at least a little, and I'll talk to you hopefully very, very soon. And have a lovely rest of the day. Bye bye.